play that night?
Yes, we did.
And did you play the music that you said you would play?
Yes, we did.
And at the end of the evening, after you finished your playing, did you have a discussion with Mr. Schwartz?
Yes, I did.
Why don't you tell me about that, sir?
I went to the door where he was meant to pay us, and he gave me a $100 bill and told me this is all he had in the register, and he assured me he'd mail me a check or settle up within a week because his reputation was on the line. And then I adamantly kind of argued with him and showed him the contract again because he was, seemed to be unaware of the terms of it. He told me that's all he had, and I'd have to talk to the owner, and I went to talk to the owner. When I came back, he was gone.
Mr. Schwartz, what happened, sir?
I never read the contract that John and I signed. John and I never discussed a price.
Mr. Schwartz, how long have you been in this business?
I've been in the business for a little over 2 years.
And have you ever signed another contract before this occasion?
Actually, we never signed contracts for the club.
That's not what I'm asking you, sir. Did you ever sign a booking agreement before you dealt with this plaintiff? How many times?
Your Honor, I couldn't count.
And how many times did you read the contract before you signed it on other occasions?
Plenty. But, Your Honor, what
was different about this occasion than the plenty of other occasions when you signed an agreement and you read it?
The difference was John and I never discussed a price. And when John came forth, I was busy one night setting up the sound. I think it was that night. And John threw a contract in front of me and said, we need this to play. I had no quarrels about signing it because the owner himself asked me to book the band, so I figured everything would be covered. At the end of the night, we did not have enough money in the register to cover the amount of the contract, which was $250.
Sir, let me ask you a question. Mr. Schwartz.
Sure.
Suppose that there were about 30 or 35 people that showed up for this whole concert.
Correct.
Suppose there were 600 people that showed up. You would have made a fortune.
The club would have made a lot of money.
Right? Would you have paid him more than $250?
Sure. Definitely. Why? Because if they deserved it, if they brought that many people, they would have deserved it.
But that would be voluntary on your part, right? You wouldn't be obligated.
As long as the owner of the club okayed it, that would be fine.
You would not be obligated to pay them anymore.
I would not be obligated to it.
Sure. So 600 people showed up, you give them $250, and you take the rest of the cash, you put it in your pocket.
Well, the owner would.
Well, I mean, don't you get paid?
Sure, as a promoter. I signed the contract.
What is the difference between the promoter and the owner?
Well, I don't own the club. I don't touch the actual money. I signed the contract on behalf of the club. You don't touch the actual money. You're the one that paid him $100. How'd you do it with a tweezer? No, out of the front. I'm sorry, out of the front register, which we took in.
But you had to pick it up, no?
I'm sorry?
You had to pick up the money.
All we had in the front register.
You had to touch the money, sir.
Everything we had in the front register went to John Kane. I informed John.
A moment ago, you said you don't touch the money. I'm trying to figure out how you transferred $100 to him without touching it. Now, I want to know how that's accomplished, because maybe we can give you your own show as a magician. How do you do that, sir?
Because I could actually take the money out of the door money to pay the band whatever the contract said. And we only had...
How much do you charge to get in?
I don't remember what we charged it, and I think it was $5.
$5. And 30 people showed up?
Roughly, yeah.
That's $150, right?
If everybody paid, yeah.
What do you mean if everybody? You let some people in
there are VIPs that don't pay, and there are other, guest lists.
How many people paid?
Well, it had to be about...
What are you looking at him for? He doesn't take the money in. You do. What are you looking at him for?
I don't have an exact count on what paid. All I know is that the door girl and John got everything that was in the register.
Listen, Mr. Schwartz, I'm trying to figure out if there were 30 people that arrived and you had $100 in the register, how it is that you managed to have one $100 bill. Well, how did that come about?
It wasn't a $100 bill.
What did he pay you?
A $100 bill.
Well, somebody didn't pay a $100 bill. I don't know how it was a $100 bill.
What denominations did you use? Of course, without touching it, so we'll leave that aside.
Your Honor, I
Mr.
can't...
Schwartz, what denominations?
Your Honor, I
Excuse me, but, you got to watch what you say.
Yeah, you're right,
just can't
but
throw out these
I don't
statements.
remember exactly what denomination it was used to pay John.
So could it have been a $100 bill?
It could have been a $100 bill.
Thank you very much. What else do you know about this?
Well, John...
Why don't you give him his money? You promised to give him $250. Why don't you give him $250?
I would have loved to give him $250.
So why didn't you do it?
I sent the band down to another club, where the same owner owns a couple clubs, to get the rest of the money.
But the owner didn't sign this contract. You did.
Well, I booked the band on behalf of the owner. As a promoter, correct.
is responsible for the payment of the band, right?
Well, in a sense,
In
a sense,
in a
yes.
sense? You mean in a sense when you have the money, then
Well,
you'll be responsible?
I was more responsible.
In the other sense, when you don't have the money, then you give them to the owner. Is that the point?
I was responsible for production upon that night.
The what?
Production, putting the show together, getting the sound set up, getting the band in, making sure they were on time.
Sir, I show you this document, and I ask you to look at the signature on it. I can't read it because it's scribbled, but maybe you can. Whose signature is that?
That's mine.
You see the owner there anywhere?
No, I don't.
You see his name anywhere?
No, I don't.
So, it's your name, right?
Well, I feel like I'm getting stiff for this. I don't feel
Why are you
like I
getting
should be
stiff?
responsible.
If there were
for this
600
money.
people showed up, you would have made money.
The owner would have made a lot of money. You're absolutely
Keep on
right.
saying the owner, sir. So would you.
But the owner is the guy who actually said book this band, which is why I did it. So, you know, in order for John to play, he threw this in front of me and said, I need this to be signed in order to play. I didn't think there was going to be a problem with him and the owner collecting any sort of money. I didn't think we were going to have to find money in other places to pay John. I thought it was going to come in that night.
Sir, you've read these kind of contracts in the past on many occasions. You knew what the terms were, right? There's nothing in there that's unusual or different, right?
Right.
And you signed it.
Right.
And you promised to pay him. You promised to pay him a certain amount of money, right?
Right.
But you didn't.
Well, you know, I didn't really think that night that I was going to get stiffed by the owner of the club that I was promoting. I don't feel like I should be responsible. And to top it off, the band misrepresented themselves, I think.
As?
Well, you know, these guys told me that they were going to bring in 600 people.
Where does it say that in the written contract?
It doesn't say it in the contract.
But don't you think that it would have been a simple thing to put in? We promised to pay you $250, band guarantees attendance by a minimum of 600 people.
The reason the owner wanted them booked was because he was so excited that they'd bring in 600 people.
But where is that in the contract?
Well, you don't put
I mean,
guarantee.
you guys are in business,
You
right?
don't put a guarantee on people in a contract.
Well, why not? You're telling me that you relied on it.
Will Sack Blabbeth get paid for the gig? We'll be back, Babbeth, after this.
1-800-417-7899. That's our number at Eaton Technical Institute. Lots of calls coming in today. We appreciate those phone calls. Whether you're in Edmonds, Linwood, Silverdale, we'd like to hear from you, too. You know, maybe you've thought about going back to school, but you put off making that decision. You thought, you know, I can't afford school, or I don't have the time to go to school. Well, we're taking away all those excuses today. We offer flexible day and evening training sessions, and financial aid's available for those who qualify. The hardest thing to do is to make the phone call. We'll make the rest easy for you.
One of the best things for me was the small classrooms, so the instructors were able to spend a lot of individual time with me.
Being a medical assistant has really given me the job satisfaction I've needed for a long time.
Eaton Technical Institute. We have campuses in Everett, Federal Way, Port Orchard. We'll make it easy for you there. Just pick the campus that's closest to you, or call the toll-free number. We can give you any information you need about all the campuses, 1-800-417-7899, or reach us at the website at the bottom of your television screen. We'd like to hear from you.
Coming only to theaters.
Woody was kidnapped.
What are we gonna do, Buzz?
Use your head.
But I don't want to use my head!
This Thanksgiving, the toys are back in town. And just trying to get home.
I'm tour guide Barbie.
I'm a married spud.
In one piece. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Toy Story 2.
Ride like the wind, Bullseye!
Rated G. Starts Wednesday, November 24th at a theater near you.
If you've been hurt in a car accident or any kind of accident, you need a lawyer. Our lawyers can help you get money. Call the Lawyers Group. Call 1-800-677-2020. Speak with a lawyer near you for free. Your lawyer gets paid only if you collect money. If you don't collect, you don't pay. So if you've been hurt in a car accident or any kind of accident, call toll-free 1-800-677-2020. Call 1-800-677-2020.